Have you ever felt so tired of learning English that you almost gave up, wishing someone could remind you why you started? Today, in Copenhagen, a lost letter might hold the words your heart has been waiting for. Lonely morning in Copenhagen. Imagine waking up in Copenhagen on a cold, gray morning. The city outside is beautiful, colorful houses, bicycles rushing by, the smell of fresh bread from the bakery. But inside your small apartment, everything feels heavy. You sit with a cup of coffee, staring at the steam, and think, why do I even try learning English anymore? This is not just your story. Psychologists say when people face repeated failure, the brain protects itself by lowering motivation. It's like your brain whispers, don't try too hard, so you won't feel the pain of failing again. Clever trick, right? But also very annoying, because it makes you believe giving up is safer than trying. You remember yesterday's practice. You tried to repeat one simple English sentence after a YouTube teacher. But your tongue twisted, the words stuck, and suddenly you felt stupid. Your brain screamed, "Stop embarrassing us." That's how brains work. They prefer comfort, even if it means keeping you stuck. But here's the funny part. Copenhagen mornings have a way of magnifying emotions. The quiet streets, the gray sky, the slow buses. It's like the whole city joins your pity party. You sigh, wondering if learning English is worth all the pain. Yet deep down, you know you want more. You want to connect, to speak freely, to not feel small when foreigners talk. Science offers a comforting truth. Feeling hopeless doesn't mean you're weak. It means your brain is conserving energy, like a smartphone in low battery mode. You just need a spark, something small to remind you why you started, and sometimes, that spark comes in the strangest form. On this lonely morning in Copenhagen, while sipping bitter coffee and doubting your life choices, you notice an old envelope lying on the table. A letter. Forgotten. Waiting, could this be the message your tired heart has been waiting for? The unexpected letter. You pick up the envelope with fingers that still smell of coffee. It looks old, yellowed at the edges, like it has been waiting longer than you have been tired. No sender's name. Just your own handwriting, messy, rushed, like you wrote it years ago but forgot. Strange, right? A letter from yourself, or maybe from someone who once mattered. Your heart beats faster. This is the psychology of curiosity at work. Researchers say when the brain faces a mystery, it releases dopamine, the same chemical that makes people binge-watch TV shows at 2 a.m. That's why you can't resist opening the envelope. Even if you're scared of what's inside, you tear it open carefully, like it might explode with memories. And then, you see the first line. If you are reading this, it means you wanted to give up. Whoa. That hits. Harder than Danish winter wind. You pause. Did someone know you would be sitting here, in Copenhagen, years later, ready to quit English again? The words feel alive, almost speaking directly to you. It's not perfect grammar, not poetic like Shakespeare, but it's real. And suddenly, you realize something powerful. Sometimes the most important words are not written in perfect English. They are written in imperfect honesty, and that's the beauty of language learning. You don't need to sound flawless to make someone cry, laugh, or feel seen. Even broken English can carry the weight of love, regret, or encouragement. You keep reading, your eyes trembling over every word, and for the first time in weeks, your heart doesn't feel heavy. This forgotten letter, whether from a lost love or a younger version of yourself, is whispering the thing your tired brain refused to say. Don't give up yet. Maybe this letter is not just paper. Maybe it's a mirror, showing you the person you still can be. Words that heal. The letter continues, and the sentences are short, simple, almost childlike. But isn't it funny? Sometimes the simplest words hit the deepest. One line says, "You are not stupid. You are just learning." Your brain doesn't know how to react. On one hand, it wants to roll its eyes. Oh please, motivational quotes again? On the other hand, your chest feels warmer, like someone finally turned on the heating in this cold Copenhagen apartment. Psychologists call this self-compassion. It's when you treat yourself like a friend instead of an enemy. And it works. Studies show people who practice self-compassion don't quit as easily. So yeah, maybe science agrees with the letter. You laugh a little, because honestly, you've been meaner to yourself than any English teacher ever was. When you forget one word, your inner voice shouts, disaster. Shame. Pack your bags, you're hopeless. But when your best friend makes a mistake, what do you say? Probably, "Don't worry, it's fine, keep going." See the irony? You're kind to everyone, except you. The letter doesn't shout. It doesn't judge. It just says, try again. Slowly. One word is enough. And suddenly you realize, maybe English is not about impressing others with perfect sentences. Maybe it's about connecting, even if you only know 5 words. You close your eyes, repeat the lines softly, slowly. I am not stupid. I am just learning. And for the first time, your tongue doesn't feel like stone. The words flow, imperfect but alive. Isn't that the point? Language is not a performance, it's a bridge. Even if the bridge is shaky, it still takes you to the other side, and maybe, just maybe, these words are the medicine your tired soul has been waiting for. Struggle with English. Let's be honest. Your journey with English has not been a romantic love story. It's been more like a toxic relationship. You try, you fail, you cry, and then you promise never to call English again. But the next day, there you are, watching another Learn English in 5 minutes video. Like a fool in love, you remember your first listening exercise. The teacher said, "Good morning, how are you?" Simple, right? But your ears heard, GMRMNG, Harriya? And your brain screamed, error 404, English not found. Then came the speaking practice. You stood in front of the mirror and said, "I am happy." But your reflection looked back like, "Are you sure?" Because you sound more like a broken robot than a happy human. Reading wasn't any kinder. You opened a book and saw the word, though. You read it as thuff. Then your teacher laughed, and your self-confidence packed its bags and left the building. Let's be real, English spelling is a prank invented by medieval trolls, and the worst part? Every mistake feels personal. When you mispronounce beach and people laugh, you want to dig a hole in Copenhagen's cobblestone streets and live there forever. Your brain whispers, see? This is why we don't try. But here's the science. Your brain hates mistakes because mistakes feel like danger. In caveman times, one wrong move meant a hungry bear ate you. Today, the only bear is grammar, but your nervous system still panics like it's life or death. That's why you feel stupid after saying one wrong word. But in reality, mistakes are the only proof you're learning. Babies don't cry when they say BABA instead of banana. They just keep shouting until everyone claps. Maybe that's the strategy you need. So yes, your struggle with English is messy, embarrassing, sometimes hilarious. But guess what? That's exactly how real learning looks. The Walk by Nyhavn. Later that day, you step outside into Copenhagen streets. The sky is still gray, but Nyhavn glows with its colorful buildings leaning slightly, like old friends posing for a photo. Tourists are laughing, boats are rocking gently, and the smell of fried fish mixes with roasted coffee. It's the kind of scene that makes you feel both small and alive at the same time. As you walk, you hear voices everywhere. English, German, French, Danish. A group of tourists pass by, speaking English slowly but confidently. And here's the shocking part, their grammar isn't perfect. Their accent is strong. But nobody cares. They are laughing, communicating, living. Meanwhile, you've been stuck in your head, waiting until you're good enough to speak. This is where psychology slaps you in the face. Social scientists say confidence grows after action, not before. It's like riding a bike. You don't wait until you feel balanced. You wobble, you nearly crash, and then suddenly you're moving. Waiting to feel ready is like waiting for Danish summer to be warm. It might never happen. So you decide to try. You whisper an English phrase to yourself while walking along the canal. The water is beautiful today. Simple. But it feels powerful, like you just unlocked a secret code. For the first time, English is not homework. It's a tool to describe what your eyes see and what your heart feels, and that's the moment you understand. English doesn't live in grammar books. It lives in streets, in laughter, in conversations over coffee by the canal. Nyhavn, with its noisy charm, is teaching you more than any textbook ever could. You take a deep breath. Repeat the sentence again, louder this time. A couple walking by glances at you, smiles politely, and continues on. Guess what? The world did not end. No bear attacked. No one laughed. And suddenly, you feel lighter. Maybe this is how it begins. Not with perfection, but with one shaky sentence by the water. Little victories. Learning English is not a grand fireworks show. It's more like lighting tiny candles, one at a time, until suddenly the room is no longer dark. And in your case, the first candle is ridiculously small. You manage to order coffee in English. 1 cappuccino, please. The barista nods, makes your drink, and life goes on. Nobody clapped, no parade marched down the street, but inside, you feel like a champion. A small win, but real. Then comes reading. You open a children's book in English. The sentences are short. The cat is on the bed. Honestly, you laugh at yourself. Here you are, a grown adult in Copenhagen, reading at the level of a 5-year-old. But hey, at least the cat understands you. And when you finish the page without stopping, you grin like you just climbed Mount Everest. Speaking practice is messier. You try repeating, "How are you today?" But your tongue betrays you. The words stumble out. How are you two? You sound like a pirate having a stroke. But instead of quitting, you laugh. And that laugh becomes a kind of fuel. Because even mistakes can be victories when they no longer scare you. Psychologists call this the progress principle. Small wins build motivation faster than big goals. Every tiny success releases dopamine, making your brain addicted to progress itself. So yes, every silly sentence you say is basically brain candy. The truth? You don't need perfect English to feel proud. You just need to notice the little victories. A phrase spoken, a word remembered, a sentence understood. Each one is a brick. And brick by brick, you are building a bridge toward the world you dream of. So maybe today's win is small, almost invisible. But add them together, and suddenly you're not just learning English, you're living it. Finding new confidence. Something shifts inside you. It's not dramatic, like lightning from the sky or angels singing above Nyhavn. No, it's quieter. But you feel it. That small, shaky sentence you spoke earlier? It planted a seed. And now, for the first time in a long while, you believe it might actually grow. Confidence is sneaky like that. It doesn't arrive with fireworks. It creeps in slowly, disguised as laughter at your own mistakes, or pride after ordering a coffee, or joy when you understand a line in a song. And then suddenly, bam, you realize you're no longer terrified. You start noticing English everywhere in Copenhagen. The menus, the subway signs, the conversations tourists have on the street. And instead of shrinking, you lean closer. You try to catch words, even answer in your head. "Excuse me, where is the station?" a traveler asks someone nearby. Your brain jumps in, turn left, then straight. You don't say it out loud yet, but hey, the dialogue in your head is fluent. Here's the psychology behind it. Your brain rewires itself every time you practice. Scientists call this neuroplasticity. It's like building a new road. The more you walk on it, the stronger it becomes. And suddenly, the old road of fear and self-doubt is no longer the only path. What's funny is, people around you barely notice. To them, you're just another person walking by the canal. But inside, it feels like you've discovered a secret superpower. English is no longer a heavy burden, it's a key. A key to travel, to friendships, to expressing yourself without borders, and you can't help but smile, because the letter was right all along. You're not stupid, you're just learning. And learning is living. For the first time in weeks, maybe years, your steps feel lighter. Copenhagen is still gray, but inside, your world is brighter. The last line of the letter. Back in your apartment, the letter still waits on the table. Your fingers trace the faded ink, as if touching the hand of someone who knew you better than you knew yourself. You breathe deeply, and finally, your eyes fall on the last line, don't give up. Your voice matters. That's it. No fancy words, no complicated grammar. Just 7 simple syllables that carry more power than 1,000 textbooks. And somehow, it feels like those words have been chasing you through time, waiting for the exact moment when you were about to quit. Your throat tightens. For years, you thought learning English was about rules, exams, and avoiding mistakes. But now you see it differently. It's about voice, your voice. Not perfect, not polished, but yours. And that makes it enough. Science has a term for this, meaning making. Humans don't survive on food and water alone. We survive on meaning. And sometimes, one sentence is enough to rewrite an entire story. This letter is proof. You whisper the line aloud, slowly, letting every word settle into your chest. Don't give up. Your voice matters. The sound is shaky but strong. And in that moment, you know, you're not learning English to pass a test. You're learning because your voice deserves to be heard. You fold the letter gently, place it back on the table, and smile. Outside, Copenhagen is still gray, but inside, something shines brighter than the sun. Don't give up. Your voice matters. Maybe that's not just a message from the past. Maybe it's the beginning of your future.